2023, there was a specific direction issued to the State Election Commission to requisition the deployment of central forces for all districts in the state of West Bengal, and the direction was to be complied with within 48 hours. And in turn, the central government, on receipt of such requisition, to deploy the required number of central forces and the cost to be borne by the central government, and no part of it to be charged to the government of West Bengal. The State Election Commission, as well as the state of West Bengal, had filed specially petitions before the Honorable Supreme Court against both the orders passed by this court, that is dated 13/6/2023 and 15/6/2023. The Honorable Supreme Court, by an elaborate order, had dismissed the specially petitions. The operative portion of the order reads as follows. Sir, Supreme Court order, page 11. Page 11. Till the end. The Honorable Supreme Court, after taking note of the observations and findings recorded by this court in both the orders, pointed out that it is needless to observe that the central forces would act in an appropriate manner, bearing in mind the emerging situations and for aiding in a free and fair conduct of election in the state. Further, the Honorable Supreme Court pointed out that democratic nations, Burgeon, B-U-R-G-E-O-M, on the strength of purity and impartiality in elections, and India, being a colossal democracy, demands such a process. In this regard, the Honorable Supreme Court referred to the observations of the Constitution Bench in T.N. Session versus Union of India, 1995, 4 SEC 611, and Srimati Indira Nehru Gandhi versus Raj Narayan, 1975, Supplementary SEC, page 1. Further, it was pointed out that the sentiment that free and fair elections are at the heart of democracy has been echoed by the Honorable Supreme Court in several judgments. Thus, the issue would be whether the order and direction issued by this court, as affirmed by the Honorable Supreme Court, has been complied with. After hearing the arguments of the learned advocate appearing for the petitioner and the learned senior advocate appearing for the State Election Commission, we have no hesitation in our mind to hold that the order and direction has not been complied with in its letter and spirit. We fail to understand as to why the State Election Commission is still not taking an independent decision in the matter, and the learned senior counsel appearing for the State Election Commission has instructions to state that the Election Commission will abide by the directions issued by this court. In the first order passed by this court, the court reposed confidence on the State Election Commission and left to it to make an assessment of the sensitive districts. We found that this direction has not been well taken, and the matter was being dragged on, which necessitated the court to issue direction for deployment of central forces for the entire state, which order has been affirmed by the Honorable Supreme Court. We are informed that we are not informed. Strike out that. On instructions, the learned senior advocate from appearing on behalf of the State Election Commission submitted that one company, inverted commas, of central force has been requisitioned for each of the 22 districts. It is submitted by the learned advocate for the petitioner that one company consists of 80 persons, which would also include persons who are to assist the
80 active personnel.
80 active personnel. 80 active personnel. As remaining sentence is taken. And given the total number of persons, thus the total number of persons, the total number of central force, active central force, which will be in place is around 1,700, which in our view is thoroughly inadequate. We are justified to take such a stand in the light of the decision, in the light of the requisition which was made for deployment of central forces during the elections, panchayat elections conducted in the state of West Bengal during 2013. In this regard, we refer to the decision of the Honorable Supreme Court in West Bengal State Election Commission versus State of West Bengal and others, 2013 SCC Online SC 1283. Full stop. It is interesting to know that the West Bengal State Election Commission was the petitioner before the Honorable Supreme Court, resisting the decision of the state of West Bengal in the matter of deployment of central forces for the 2013 Panchayat election. If that was the manner in which the West Bengal State Election Commission had acted in the year 2013, we are at a loss to understand as to what has happened to the independency and supremacy of the State Election Commission during the ensuing elections. In the said order of the Honorable Supreme Court, it has been recorded that the elections to the 2013 Panchayat elections was to be conducted in 5 phases from 11th to 25th July 2013. And interestingly, the deployment of state police was 105,000 and central force was 82,000. And more importantly, at the relevant point of time, there were only 17 districts in the state of West Bengal, as against 22 districts at present. Therefore, if the State Election Commission is not proactive and not inclined to implement the order passed by this court in its letter and spirit, we may be well justified in forming a prima facie opinion that the State Election Commission is attempting to make the order passed by this court unworkable, which they are not entitled to, more particularly when the Honorable Supreme Court has affirmed the order. This will also lead us to a prima facie conclusion that there has been deliberate violation of the order and direction to be complied with in its letter and spirit. However, in the light of the submission made by the learned senior advocate appearing for the State Election Commission, that the Commission will abide by the directions issued by this court, we are inclined to issue the following directions, which are ancillary and supplementary to the order passed in the earlier 2 writ petitions. The State Election Commission shall, within 24 hours, requisition sufficient number of central forces to be deployed to all the districts, and the number of the companies / battalion to be which are to be requisitioned shall be not less than the force which was requisitioned for the 2013 election, and it has to be definitely more than the same, as the number of districts have increased and the electorate would have definitely increased between 2013 and 2023 in these 10 years. Therefore, we expect the State Election Commission to take note of this direction in a proper and effective manner, and the court hopes that the direction will be complied with in its letter and spirit, and any attempt to make the order unworkable may result in adverse consequences. It is pointed out by the learned advocate for the contempt applicant that in the specially petition filed before the Honorable Supreme Court, the copy of the letter addressed by the Additional Chief Secretary, Home, Hill Affairs Department, Parliamentary Affairs Department, Government of West Bengal, to the Principal Secretary, Department of Home Affairs and Justice, Government of Punjab, dated 12/6/2023, was annexed. On going through the letter, we are surprised to know that the requisition which was made to the Government of Punjab was to provide police force to reach the designated location by 6th July 2023 morning. When the submissions on behalf of the State Election Commission was heard by this court in the writ petition, we were led to believe that already sufficient number of force has been requisitioned from the states of Orissa, Jharkhand, Bihar, Punjab and Tamil Nadu. The court was of the view that such requisition has been made and the force is required to be present till the entire election process is completed. Surprisingly, the instruction given to the learned senior advocate who appeared for the State Election Commission is contrary to what has been written by the Additional Secretary to the Government of West Bengal, to the Principal Secretary, Department of Home Affairs, Government of Punjab, dated 12/6/2023. This also appears to be, this can very well be taken to be an attempt to mislead this court. As the court, even in the order passed in the earlier petition, had made it clear that the requisition of central forces was to cover the entire election process and not on the date of polling alone. Therefore, we are of the clear view that such deployment of the forces from the other states, that too at the to be in place, to be in place on the date of polling will not yield the desired result. Therefore, dehors the number of police force which have been requisitioned from the other states. The State Election Commission shall independently assess the requirement, and as observed earlier, the assessment should be honest and should be honest, and bearing in mind that the State Election Commission has a constitutional obligation to ensure free and fair election and preserve the purity of the entire election process. We hope and trust this direction be complied with effectively and immediately without loss of time. List the matter on Friday.
Your Lordships may also not consider appointment of an observer for the purpose not action.
We'll see. That issue we already dealt with in the first term.